I'm known by the name Mady Magpie in the Philippines. You know yung mga puti, matigas yung kanilang dila, hindi lang ma-pronounce yung magpile. So my name is really Mady Magpile. Right. What I'm going to show you now is just a video of how rebar is reinforcing steel is practiced in the United States. And it will be totally painless. It's just a video. And at the end of the video, I'm going to give each one of you, as many as I have in my box, a ready reference manual that tells you everything you need to know about reinforcing steel. Right. I came back to the Philippines last year to start a small company, Barlines Rebar Philippines. And I came back mainly to introduce rebar detailing in the Philippines. All our jobs are coming from the United States, and I got a group of young engineers, mostly from the University of Santo Tomas, and in a period of less than 3 months, we were able to teach them rebar detailing. Coming to the Philippines, I found out the practice of rebar engineering is not quite the same as practice in the United States. For example, I found out that rebar is fabricated at the job site here in the Philippines, while in the States, it's fabricated in a fabricated plant. Everything is prefabricated. When the rebar goes to the job site, it's properly tagged already. And there's a placing drawing prepared by detailers to show the iron workers exactly where the rebars is going to be placed. So it's much simpler in the United States. In fact, iron workers are basically big guys who doesn't even know how to read and write, and yet they can install rebar in a structure that is high-rise, and they do it properly mainly because of the help of the rebar detailers. Bar lines became so popular in the United States because we are the only one that contend to them that our detailers are all engineers. The practice of rebar detailing in the United States used to be all done by vocationally trained detailers. I was the first one who recognized that because of the paradigm shift in design engineering, that we need civil engineers to properly interpret the requirements of the design engineers. The first paradigm shift was earthquakes. Before the earthquake problem, the engineers went back to their board and started designing on ductile moment resisting frame. I'm sure you guys already learned most about that. And then also lately, because of the bombing in Oklahoma in the United States, they started going back to the design board and started designing on blast-resistant design. The first blast-resistant design building is the Enron building. The Enron building in Houston. You all know Enron building. The infamous Enron building, who's now extinct. This used to be the first tower, and this is the new tower. The new tower is blast resistant up to the 8th floor. It's only blast resistant to the 8th floor only because the building in Oklahoma, the Mura building, is only 8-story. When it was bombed and collapsed, at that time they figured, well, if we will design something blast resistant to the 8th floor, we will be safe from terrorists. Lo and behold, 3 years later, there was a terrorist attack in New York and a Twin Tower fell. Now, all of a sudden, the design engineers are going back to the board and they're saying, we better design buildings that is blast resistant from the ground to the top of the building, the roof. Well, that paradigm shift requires that the engineers be the ones doing all the rebar detailing. Otherwise, how can a vocationally trained guys be able to interpret the requirements of the design engineers? So coming back to the Philippines, I found out I have a whole slew of engineers here. So that I joined your UST job fair. We have a booth at the job fair, which is now ongoing. I don't know if any one of you have stopped by at our booth. We are going to hire 12 rebar detailers every year. From now on, once a year, we'll have the 12 openings for rebar detailers. But what is exactly rebar detailing? We're not designers. We're actually just copying and reading the work of a design engineer. In the United States, no concrete can be poured unless a placing drawing is produced by rebar detailers. A placing drawing that shows exactly the quantity, the size, the length of the bars, and the shape of the bars. These placing drawings is used by the iron workers to install the rebar, and also an instrument that the inspector uses. Without the placing drawing, the poor inspector, when he goes to the job site, doesn't really know what to inspect. He has the drawing tells him the size, but it tells him the spacing of the bars, but it doesn't tell him the quantity. So if he's looking at a wall 24, and the drawing calls for a vertical bar, say number 25, at 30 millimeter spacing, he has to calculate in his head how many bars will fit in that span. With the placing drawing, it tells him exactly how many, so he could properly do his inspection. If the placing drawing shows 50, then he's looking at the wall, he's counting the bars, and if he sees only 49, then he says, hey, wait a minute, you're short, I need one more. The placing drawing says 50. Here, the inspector doesn't have that tool. So when he goes to the job site, he just goes by with what he sees. If he sees 49, he accepts it. And that's not right. And really, we should have placing drawings also in the Philippines, just like they have placing drawings in the United States. And this little video will tell you exactly what goes through in inspecting a properly designed building. Fabrication, it shows you a little bit about how rebar is made, how it's inspected, what's the testing that is involved, what are the requirements for a good inspectors. All of that is in this video. Over here we have samples of our work. We made it in a cardboard so you guys could see it. But rebar detailing, really, I want you guys to be aware that there is such a job in the United States. There's a shortage of rebar detail in the United States. If any one of you goes to the United States and as you step out of the plane, calls a fabricator and says, I'm an engineer from the Philippines, I need a job, chances are you're going to be hired. Better than if you're applying as a civil engineer. The problem with the civil engineer, when they go for work, they're looking for local experience. So most of the time the guy will say, I just landed here, how come you're asking me for local experience? But because of the shortage in rebar detailing, as they land, you call a fabricator and say, I'm an engineer from UST, and I met bar lines, I know a little bit about rebar detailing, chances are you're going to be employed. And I know it has happened so many times before. Most of the people that are hired by bar lines in the United States are Filipinos who come to the United States. Some of them came without a proper visa, and we will sponsor them on H-1B visa. You know, and that gives them a chance to work in the United States for a period of 3 years. And it doesn't take long to teach them rebar detailing. In my resume, I said, I used to teach rebar detailing in LA Trade Tech, And we failed miserably. In so many years, we could not produce a good rebar detailer. And the reason is, I have 2 years to produce a rebar detailer. How can I teach engineering to a high school graduate? I could not even teach them properly how to read drawings, and how to do drafting, and how to mechanics of structures, strength of materials. How can I teach all that in 2 years? So I gave that up, and I said, let me start with an engineer, and I guarantee you in 3 months I could make him a rebar detailer out of a civil engineer. Because I do not need to go through the process of teaching them the engineering. They already know that. Plan reading, they already know that. All I have to teach them is the local practice on rebar detailing, based on Concrete Reinforcing Steel Institute. All these things that we have, the program, the video that you're going to see is produced by CRSI, Concrete Reinforcing Steel Institute. This package, this book that I'm giving you is also produced by the Concrete Reinforcing Steel Institute. I'm sure all of you knows about ACI. ACI, you know, engineers, ACI, yeah, we know that. That's American Concrete Institute. CRSI, very few people know. CRSI is the rebar portion. ACI is the concrete, CRSI is the rebar. You have to combine the two to make a reinforced concrete structure. With all the high-rise that you see in Makati and Manila, there's a rebar detailer doing his work here. The only bad thing, he's not trained as a rebar detailer, one, is they're not organized, and they do not have the tools that we have. We have detailing software. We have software that if you answer all the questions, it makes the drawing for you. It's so simple. Yeah. I wish I could demonstrate that software. You know, you answer all the questions and openings and all that, and it will make the detailing for you with all the drawings. Or if not, you do it on AutoCAD, and you get an interactive rebar detailing software that will help you calculate the spacing of the bars and all, and will calculate and will show you the bed types and all those things. So it makes it simple. This video will show you all of that. This is better than gulong ng palad. All right, you want to start with the video?
Number 11.
Yes. At the end of the video, if you have any questions, I'll answer them. I mentioned gulong ng palad because that's my wife's favorite.
Alt shift, yung function.
Rebar, Estimating and Detailing Philippines Incorporated, for having been the resource speaker in the seminar, Project Management and Estimate, given this 10th day of February 2005 at the Engineering Conference Hall, University of Santo Tomas, Manila. We would also like to say Mr. Rick Magpile. He's the auditor of Barlines Philippines, Engineer Ari Santos, and Engineer Ada Pabuscan. Thank you, Mr.